You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.
All right, Ed, why don't you kick this sucker off? Let's our International Skateboarding Bros Show.
Hey guys, welcome to the Skateboarding Bros Show. This is season 35, I think, and this is episode 1. And we are joined by, of course, Phil Chiocchio and George McClellan. So that's San Luis Obispo and Sarasota, Florida. And then we're also have a special guest with us, Scott Hughston, and he joins us from Crete, an island in the nation of Greece. Secret agent man stuff going on for sure. We met, I think, through a van with a hippie in it in the late 70s. Curly hair guy waving a towel around in an aloe plant that had no leaves. I think you were a grom from Tallahassee, and you made your way to Sensation Basin a couple of times, and you never stopped. So welcome to the show, Scott Hughston. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, Barry and his dog Jay Jr. You may remember in the tan van.
Jay Jr., the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember him, Phil.
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of time with Jay Jr. We had a lot of talks.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I want to say is first and foremost, I want to thank Phil for all the great times at Sensation Basin. We went down there quite often. A lot of great time. So Phil, thank you so much for that and all that you've done for skateboarding and for being.
It was an era. It took everybody to make it happen, and that was
yeah,
what was cool
it was
about
a great time, a great era, and a great group of people to hang out with back then.
Well, it's an interesting point though, because it takes when things happen like now, artificial intelligence is happening. That's a whole new era. But we had an era back then for 4 years or so, or whatever it was, and everybody had to do something to make it happen. It wasn't happening for you; you had to do it. And people watching the show now, 100 years from now, won't really understand what went down then. So, it'd be interesting to chat about that today a little bit.
So I think that's a good lead in. So I have a bunch of pictures that we can talk to that Scott sent us, but I think Phil, you mentioned something really good there, because I was talking earlier to George about this. That you used to be able to write down 10 to 15 tricks. That's all you had. That's all there was.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's all there was. It's not that's all you had. If you had 8 of them, that was great. But some people had 12, some people had 15, and then some people had an extra little kicker. But like a wom pull or or as Fulmer used to call it, a front side aerial lip slide, which was also the ollie. But yeah, absolutely. That's it. And it's grown just so insane. You think about now, I guess people are like, well, what am I going to do in a contest run or a video run or whatever?
They have room for no backside kick turns. Was half of the tricks that we had, because we were trying to get speed to go do something else. And there really weren't that many. So it was a time of great innovation and great fraternity. I got out of college, I was like, okay, I'm going home. That's it. But, and I didn't join a fraternity, but I found out later with Florida Skater and getting back with you guys that we were in our own fraternity, and it really has, stood the test of time. So I'm glad you're in it, Scott. There was a bunch of guys that we, that went in the background and we never saw them again. Well, I didn't see you again. And the last time I saw you, you're like gotten 3 or 4 times better than you ever were when you were 20. Now you're still killing it. So let me see if I can share my screen.
Scott was in the Tallahassee group, right? I mean, Barry Zaritsky, SIO Barry, he put together quite a group of passionate people, and he built ramps on boats and built a ramp at his store and
Yeah.
all that cool stuff.
Let's.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Barry's, you know, everybody says skateboarding saved my life. Barry was like a major mentor, father figure to me, and he held me accountable. I was a pretty wild kid, and you know, he wouldn't let me go on trips with him if I was acting terribly. I could tell you some stories offline where he really held me accountable, but he taught me to treat people like you want to be treated, and to you know, respect those providing service to you. And he was giving us rides to skateboard parks and picking us up, taking us to his shop to go skateboard. Things
Well,
like
he
that.
went on to do some cool things in the industry, just like all these other criminal skateboarders that were 14, 15, 16 turned out to be real people. So
Yeah.
don't bash people because they're doing something when they're young, because
He was great.
Yeah.
Still is.
We're gonna have to get him on here one of these days. That's not even a question. So
Yeah.
look at, oh, wait a minute, where'd you go? Look at what Scott did.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know you were pulling this.
But it's just it's impressive, you know, except for the Auburn part, of course.
is this
Yeah,
all
well,
is this all real, or did you just make this stuff up for the news here?
That's Chat
no,
GTP.
yeah, it's pretty real. It's all real. Yeah, I
But
joined the
wait,
Navy
where'd
in
he go? Hold on.
82.
Tell me about 20 years as a deep sea diver. You were telling me about the flight off of DC or New York City.
Well, yeah, I joined the Navy in '82. You know, so I stopped skating for a couple years there, and wanted to become a Navy SEAL, and then ended up changing my mind. I said I want to be a deep sea diver, and they said, well, too late. You go to a ship for 3 years. So I went to a ship and did my time there, and then after 3 years on the ship, I got the opportunity, which is another hour-long story of how that happened, but to become a deep sea diver. So I flew to Hawaii, became a deep sea diver, did that, you know, got married, had kids, did that for about 14 years. And then there's things on here that you don't see. My last duty station was at the Presidential Retreat, Camp David. So I served with a couple different presidents there and met their friends and
Wow.
family. And then retired in 2002 from the Navy. And what you were saying, when I was a deep sea diver, I did a lot of different work, but one of the big things was salvage of the TWA Flight 800 off of
Wow.
Long Island, New York. I was out there for 5 weeks, and terrible job, but honored to be able to help those families bring closure to that, you know, bringing back their family members, friends and family members. So, but after that, I started getting into IT work, and was kind of interested in making a living, actually, taking care of my family. I was married with 2 kids at the time, started doing IT stuff, and moved to DC and lived there for a while, for about 4 years, 1 year longer than I told my wife I would stay, because DC is pretty hectic rat race.
But I see you went to Auburn.
I did eventually.
The War Eagles, the
War Eagle,
gymnastics
yeah.
team, came to Gainesville, and they came out to Sensation Basin, and
Yeah.
Rodney put on a show for them, which was gymnastics on a little silly board. And I got a nice letter back from the gymnastics coach, all excited about the future of skateboarding because
Really?
of that. So go War Eagles.
Yeah, there you go. I ended up getting that many years later. But anyway, long story, I did a lot of IT, and I still do IT now, and that brought me here to Greece. So
The interesting piece is I went active duty in 1984, so not too far behind you. Didn't make it 20 years.
it's probably good.
Scott, who are these people? I see Jimmy in the background. Can you go left to right and tell us who this is?
I can actually, yeah. So this is Jim. Well, I'm pointing with my mouse, but but left to right, Travis Clayton. He's still a good friend of mine. He lives down in Florida. This is me next to him up on top with the Fiberflex and the Pacer wheels.
Nice.
Down on the bottom with his arms crossed is my good friend Brad McLeod, who's still a really good friend of mine who still skates. He was a Navy SEAL in the Navy for quite a while.
Wow.
Just above him with that, holding that, it looks like a Makaha board. I can't remember what those were.
I think that's a Maharaja. That may
Okay, the ones with the mahogany and
inlaid,
oaks.
yeah, that's laminated. That's a Maha.
Dang it.
Oh, you switched. Okay, and then above that, that was Stuart Singer from
Wow.
Donnell Manufacturing. If you remember Donnell Distributors, Stuart Singer was basically a pro back in the day, and he was from Galveston, Texas. And then above him, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is that Jimmy Odom?
Yes, that's Jimmy Odom. Jimmy was a big mentor to all us kids. We call him Mad Dog for copying, obviously, Tony Alva. But many of you know him. He skated Oaks Pool, right? And he just a really great guy, great skater.
He was a great skater. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, ended up dying in a motorcycle wreck.
Yeah.
I was in my teens. And then the last person to the right next to Jimmy is, again, my good friend, Lee Nettles. And he still skates down in Tallahassee, Florida. Yeah. He owned a skate shop in Tallahassee, and now he's very big in just teaching kids and skating around at a couple, I think 3 skate parks now in Tallahassee.
Wow.
So this was in 1977 at Florida State football game. This is Barry's trailer, or not trailer, but Barry's ramp, no flat bottom, 8 foot wide, probably 10 foot tall, just a guess. Yeah. Super kinky where that line is on that last sheet of plywood.
No, come on.
No platform, no support behind it. And I'm telling you, Stuart and maybe Jimmy were the only ones even getting up there by skateboards inside out. We were just kick turning, man. This is the early days, right? You see the board upright, it's a Fiberflex flat, right? But it was a halftime show for Florida State University's football team and against Cincinnati. And I just got a picture from my good friend Jeff Walsh, or he's changed his name now to Jeff
Farnham. Yeah,
he's down in Florida. He just sent another picture to me that shows the ramp from afar, and I didn't send that to you guys, but wow. That was a really great time. I mean, Florida State football game, Doak Campbell Stadium, full of people, and we're out there in the center of the field, sort of on the sidelines, but right at the 50-yard lines, riding skateboards around.
Nobody had ever seen any of that before. I bet you they went nuts.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Just another great thing Barry did for skateboarding, and especially for all the kids in this picture. Every one of us could tell you, many stories about what he did to help us out. So,
no doubt.
Thanks to Barry.
Stuart Singer rode for Kryptonics for a little while.
Oh, did he?
Just a little, yes. He was a teammate on Kryptonics. I remember picking him up at Tampa Airport for one of the contests. But little sidebar there.
Yeah, he did some freestyle too, I remember. And then the picture on the other side is I think my first trip to Kona back in the early 70s. I don't know. It probably 75 is close, but just don't know. I mean, you can see it's a fake Logan Earth ski. I couldn't afford a real one, right? Some imitation.
Look at that weird fence they got up there too. I don't remember that, but that's really early.
Keep boards from flying into the snake run.
Yeah.
Is that Bennett trucks? Looks like Bennett.
I think it was Bennett trucks and Road Rider 4s.
Road Rider 4s.
Yeah. And you can see the knee pads were just volleyball pads, and the borrowed helmet and the cut off jeans. Pretty funny.
So those were wood screwed. The trucks were screwed into the wood, right? There was no bolts.
I think so, probably.
Yeah, probably wood screws. Probably 3 wood screws. Yep. Gnarly. May have had that rubberized grip tape on the deck.
Yeah. I know my GNS Warp Tail had that. I had a Warp Tail 1, solid oak, right?
Yeah.
And it had that rubberized grip tape built into it, or that came with it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know how many people, Phil, you had, but 935.
Yeah, that's good. Good number.
Yeah.
So the
And
getaway, was that in Huntsville?
that was in Huntsville.
So you were in Huntsville for a while. Did you ever get to that spot again and see it?
Yeah, actually, I lived in Huntsville. After I left DC, I moved to Huntsville. And my best friend Paul Giro and I still skate together all the time. He lives there now. And if you didn't know, they're rebuilding the getaway.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
I
amazing.
heard about that.
Tim Payne's doing it, and my friend Paul Giro, and a few others in the area have been instrumental in that, working with the city. Paul's very well connected to the mayor and a lot of other people in the community, and he's been very successful in that. So if you haven't seen that, look on Tim Payne's website.
Yeah, we heard.
It opens. It was supposed to open in July, late July, but it looks like maybe late August now, the grand opening. And Tony Walsh is leading the team, and a bunch of those Team Payne
We
crews are up
got
there
some
working
old
on that
footage
thing.
of Huntsville. It'd be fun if when they open up, we could get a show going and we'll play up some of the old footage of the old park compared to the new. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, and we've actually I've shown that your videos to Paul, and he was in some of those videos.
Great.
Buddy Rawls was up there also. I think Paul skated for GNS and Buddy skated for Sims at the time, and they were big time skaters up there. I first went with Sean Petty and his family. I I used to go on trips with Sean and family because they had a car and I didn't. So, you know, you guys remember the stories about J.K. Petty and his wife Florence, and they were very gracious and allowed me to go on trips with them all over the place. So they took me up there. I also went with Barry, and we went to Gadsden to
Right.
the other park down there. That was really great at the time. But anyway, a lot of good times there in Huntsville, and I'm actually going back at the end of July, the 1st of August to skate that park before it opens with Paul and do some other things.
Cool.
So those boards. So if you go back to the previous slide, it's interesting to take a look at those boards because one thing that's pretty interesting is that there is no Skateboarder magazine sticker on it. So you didn't care about magazine coverage. You've got on the Markel, just to make that Markel just a little bit heavier, it looks like you've got a second set of rails on there.
Yeah, and
let's try to make that.
Those were PVC pipes cut. I was, and the copers were handmade. You see,
nice.
Wait. I got to get back to that.
I got to run. So Scott, it's good seeing you. And sorry if I can get back on later. If you're still here, I'll try it, but not. But I'm glad you could join us. Our first international skateboarding bros show from Crete.
Yes.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. Have a great day, buddy.
Right.
Nice seeing you,
man.
Right.
Also,
owner.
On the international edge, just because it was international, I wore my Power Edge, which is an Australian magazine. So we're fully international. What's going on?
There we go.
And drinking Colombian coffee. What the hell?
I'm drinking Italian coffee, even though it's
of course
5:30 at night here.
So you won a Markel? You didn't buy one, did you?
I don't remember, to be honest, how I got it.
Is that a Sea Dog? Looks like a Sea Dog.
I remember skating with Clyde, Kelly, and Sea Dog, and I loved those boards. I mean, even though they were thick as thick as your foot, right? They're an inch thick, but everybody wanted one, right? With those guys skating them, right? So
anything free was good.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm sure I got it free. Hey, go back real quick. I want to tell you a quick story about that picture. You see the SIO? You guys may know, but the average Joe doesn't know that SIO stood for Skateboards Inside Out.
Right.
And that was Barry's skateboard shop. And this was the first board I there was no SIO when I first, it wasn't this one, but when I first, I kind of came up with that acronym. I cut it out of grip tape and stuck it on a board, and Barry's like,
Nice.
hey, that's pretty cool. So anyway.
Oh, so,
Um,
so you're the impetus behind the name as it became.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool. And then Barry turned the O into that full pipe.
Yeah,
And then you can
exactly.
see I was pretty ate up with it. I had my SIO shorts and the SIO stickers everywhere. But yeah. And then the flight board, oh my gosh, that had, anyway, I could talk for hours just about that picture, but we can move on. Thanks.
I've got a pad here. I know you can't really see it, but it says Bionic Hip.
Yep. Bionic hip pads. Yep.
Space Age Design.
Yeah.
And it's an uncut one, so it's definitely not one that I wore. But Barry gave it to me after I fell on my coccyx. And
yeah, that's right. You had to cut them. You
Yeah.
got your square. You got the square pad. You had to cut it. You had the little. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we lived on them. I mean, you put on your surf shorts, and then when you got to the park, you just slid on the pad and your corduroy.
Whatever, yes, whatever you were wearing at the time, which wasn't torn up. SIOs, Mad Rats, Mollies. It really depends on who gave you some shit that month.
Yeah,
right.
So tell me about Paul Giro.
So Paul is my good friend, best friend really, down in Huntsville, Alabama. He lives actually just north and just inside the Tennessee line now, but his family's still in Huntsville. Again, very instrumental in getting the new Tim Payne skate park built in Huntsville, Alabama. It's very nice. I'm telling you.
Well, shout out to them. That's awesome.
Yeah. So this is me and him. After I moved. He built, he's got a big farm up there. So he has a horse arena, and then he added, when he built his indoor horse arena, he built a special section for a ramp, and he's got a very nice ramp. His farm is called the Tennessee Rose, and he hosts a contest every year. It's the Rage at the Rose. If you haven't heard that, look it up. They had the first one last year. The next one's coming up. I believe October or maybe September. I just saw the sign, but I forgot. This picture on the left is Paul and I on his ramp. Think late 21, maybe last year. He does really nice layback airs.
Oh, okay.
Doing a frontside invert. We did a couple.
Frontside inverts. How old are you?
I turned 60 in about a month. So
that's incredible. I'm watching you do them. We got video to look at. I'm like, it happens like that.
Yeah, I do it weird because you see it's tuck knee. I don't extend as much as some. and I don't put my hand out sort of in front of me, you know what I mean? Like this. I go blind. So every once in a while I'll miss my hand on coping and do a Miller flip or a leg flip that I really didn't want to do, right? But that's I like this picture because, you know, we're good friends. And then we just did a drop in from the other side, straight walled it. And we actually landed this. It was really cool to land the two tricks side by side. So, and my good friend, Peter Fernay, not Phil, Peter Fernay took the picture. So give him photo credit.
Peter's
and to the right, that is my skateboard currently, actually, and that's the Scott Hughston and Paul Giro Bro model with bandwagon skateboards. So we're very competitive about each other, you know, with each other, and so they surprised us with this. Actually, we didn't know we were getting a model.
How wide is that? How wide is that board?
Oh wow, I have one over here. I should know that, right?
Maybe I scaled the picture.
8.75 about.
Yeah, you should know that. Did I scale the picture wrong? Do the trucks look about a foot wide?
Yeah, that looks like that's Indies. So it's got Indies on it with
big balls.
Yeah.
You can't see it. It's blurring it out because I have the background blurred. Anyway, I think it's about 8 3/4, maybe 8.5. It's not too big.
It looks,
then,
is it a symmetrical board?
No, it's a shape. It's got a rounded square tail. There's a popsicle and a shape.
Oh, okay.
And then that picture doesn't show it totally great, but it's a kind of a little bit old school because it has the squared off tail a little bit, which I like. Helps with some things that I do, but Bandwagon Skateboards, it's a group of people out. Robbie Collins, Dave Smith, his nickname's Malachi, and Mark Pfeiffer, sorry, from Northern Virginia. So a group of guys that have that company. And then we have me, Paul, there's not a lot of people to skate for them, but those guys that I mentioned, Brian Drake now skates with us. Do you know Brian Drake from Wilmington? I think we have some pictures of his ramp here.
Yes, we do.
So anyway, great boards, great group of guys, man. I'll tell you, the salt of the earth, really great people.
Well, I hope you get, $5 or $10 for having, at least you have a model.
Yeah. I could make tens of dollars a year.
Yes.
Right.
So, all right. So this was the new company. So we're on the left is Sean Petty's pool.
Yeah.
For the George
I hated that OG coping. The first coping sucked.
Ooh.
So gnarly.
It was brutal. It was like 4 inches thick of
nasty lady finger stuff.
Poured concrete. Yeah.
It was a really a good a reason to get copers, but they weren't around yet.
Yeah.
So they did they retiled it too.
Yeah, actually, me, Sean, and a couple other people, his dad said he would replace the coping, and he gave us a couple jackhammers and said, if you take the old stuff off. So we're little kids. You see how skinny I am there with 90-pound jackhammers.
Forcing around a jackhammer.
Oh my God, that was a workout. So it was a good lesson. So we did that, and then he put this, and people complained about this coping too because it was a little thin, right? But way better than that. That other stuff was 2 inches thick and stuck out 1.5 inches easy. You couldn't even hardly grind it. I know some of you guys came down there and skated, or came up there for you, but did I send you a picture of the old coping? I think I have.
Yeah, we've got that in here. I wanted to get these in a format that I would be less likely to screw up. And there's that hand plant up in this. It is Food Lion Park, right?
Yeah, it is.
In Asheville.
Yeah. The big bowl there in Asheville at the bottom, if you've ever been to that skate park. And
I've looked at it. It's downtown. Food Lion built it, and it's free and open to the public. It's been there for 20 years.
At the time, it was like $2 to skate it, but they just made it open to the public now. It's
right in downtown Asheville. It's pretty cool.
The single skate just doesn't work.
So let's go to the next one. So there's the original coping.
Yeah. That fucking nastiness. Oh my God.
Scott, were you at the pool the day that I came up there? And Phil and Rodney and I guess Barry, if he was living in Gainesville at the time, we came and had a session at the pool, and it was the only time I ever went there.
I think so, but my memory is pretty vague. I've seen some footage, and I had a video that Phil took of me doing some laybacks there where I was wiping out at the bottom. Yeah. So I was there, yes.
So good, because then you got your SIO on this deck here on the top, because I'm wondering if you first tried to learn what I did before Tim Martin did the rock and roll, because I did that move that day when we were there.
I'm positive that I was copying you. I
was-
was
no,
not innovating anything.
it was a harder way to do them, so it was better what Tim Martin came out with. But I had found some footage of me doing it. It's like 3 seconds scrammed in there, and then I saw a couple of things, and we've got video, you've got video. I just wanted to kind of go through these. Then the black and white helmet. Who's the manufacturer of that helmet? That's how I spot you everywhere in these old videos.
You know, it wasn't like a Norcon. I can't remember who the manufacturer was. It was a strange helmet, but if you remember from Sensation Basin, Kelly Lynn did that to his helmet. And so I copied Kelly because we all loved Kelly back in the day.
Yeah. Sure.
And I was like, I'm going to be like that guy, right? So I copied Kelly and did the black and white. I spray painted it, but it was just a white helmet. I can't remember, the cheapest helmet I could find, to be honest with you. And that's Sean there in the back.
You see Sean. Interesting piece about that is we just love to be tortured. Can you imagine wearing a full tech helmet in July? This looks like summertime in Tallahassee. Are you fucking kidding me? How hot can that get?
Yeah.
So that was some torture there.
That was the only way to work the bolt too. I mean, both of these pictures are in the same location.
Yeah.
It's just different camera view. And that was that low left hip. That was the other side was too high.
Yeah, I didn't like that other side. Yeah.
It was not, you had to work to skate this pool. It was built for skateboarding, and it was free and in your backyard. You can't, well, I guess I am complaining. But they were really nice folks.
Yeah, they had a lot of criticism, but they treated me well.
So there we are again. So you've got, what is this, a Barry creation, this ramp?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On that side, this is in the Tallahassee Mall parking lot, and we did a demonstration. So we had this ramp. I don't remember how we got it there.
Wait a minute. I was trying to find those girls. Are those your girlfriends over there?
Yeah, no, they were out of my league at the time. But you can see it had pool coping, but it stopped. It only went for like 3 blocks.
Yep, that's the way we did
I
things.
can't remember. And that parking lot was not the smoothest either, man. And look at these pads. I had one of those Rectors with no plastic, and then a little
suede.
I don't remember what the other one was. I can't remember.
That Rector suede pads, those are the fucking worst. They just grabbed. Oh,
They were expensive hockey pads that we had been wearing for, since we started.
Look at that. He's a proponent of the jocks. You were there with Edgar with those jocks shoes.
Yeah, they were inexpensive.
That was the trick, man. Any shoes that had kind of a grippy bottom that you could afford, right?
And a tube of shoe goo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this here, third wall at the Basin, always a credible shot. It's 4 feet of vert.
Skates there on the wall.
Yeah. I was very pleased to see this many years later at one of the Skateboarding Hall of Fame events. Robert, how do you say his last name? Hughston. Anyway, photographer took a picture, and I didn't see it forever, and then he had it up on a wall. I was like, oh, that's great.
Huffam. Out of Daytona somewhere.
Yeah. And so that was, again, I think that might be my flight board, not the Markel. And this, both of these pictures are that flight board, which were pretty heavy too, right?
Those were freaking tanks too. Yep.
And we're moving up. Our knee game is moved up, but our elbow has gone backwards.
Yeah, you see the hockey pads, right?
Yeah.
What were those called?
Something
like that.
Yeah. I think that was a CCM hockey pad. Yep.
That's just some sketchy stuff. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, we had some Walker action there.
Yeah, Sean Petty model at Kona on
nice.
half pipe.
That's not a trivial frontside ollie. No, that's a beefy thing on a little tiny. Is this the vert ramp, or this is back in the day, the little
No, that's the fiberglass ramp. That's
Ugh.
that's the nastiness right there. Don't lose your board into the stands there on the left-hand side.
Yeah, exactly. And the wooden coping that were like 2x6s.
That's right. Yep.
So
Yeah,
what's-
you see those shorts, those were first edition SIO shorts that I think I was, oh gosh, I don't remember what, I was in school, obviously, I guess high school, but what I did is I went and bought some fabric, leopard spotted fabric, and I sewed that on myself on the butt
Nice.
and the pockets, because the first ones didn't have good pockets or that thing on the back.
Yep.
You know, that pad, that extra layer that it
Yeah.
had. So I sewed those on myself, and this was in Marty's, whatever that magazine was called out of Kona, Skate or something like that.
Yeah.
And so this is a picture of me from back then that I think I got this when I was already in the Navy.
Did Bruce, were you getting sponsored, Bruce? What was you on Flow, or how did that work?
I think at this time, yeah, because I was sponsored at one of the Sensation Basin contests. I think I gave you a picture of that too. I will say that probably Sean was instrumental in getting me sponsored. I'm not sure my skating was up to the par of some of the others, but I had some good, these ollies, I would sling them. So sometimes I'd make them, sometimes I wouldn't. They weren't as precise as Jimmy Wilkins, even though it looks pretty good. It was kind of like, oh shit, do I stay on or not? But I'd make them. So yeah, I was sponsored by Walker at this time.
Well, you have the right demeanor and personality to be somebody that somebody would want to represent them, instead of somebody who might be yelling at the general manager of the park.
Get in public. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's not good. So let me get going back here.
I don't know. I'm pretty happy now. Back then, I used to have a little bit of that. Never angry at people, but just yeah.
Well, look at okay. So this is high side at Hollywood.
High side. Oh,
Mhm.
And front side.
Yeah, I was on vacation down there with my two boys, and Alan was gracious enough to let me skate. It was already closed by then to the public, right? I don't know if it was ever really open, but I contacted Alan and he let me go skate. And me and my son skated. My other son didn't go. He was with us, but he didn't go skate. And yeah, I had a great time. And Dan actually came by and watched a little while. He didn't skate with me, but yeah, I was at the time I was skating for Plug Skateboards, and that was a Derek Krasauskas model for Plug Skateboards. And Derek and I are still really good friends.
Derek's a ripper.
Yeah, he's great. I think he's getting a hip replacement now, so wish him the best.
Kelly Lynn got a hip replacement. I found that out at the Hall of Fame event. About January, he got a hip replacement. Now he's back skating again.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm it's funny, we're all getting to that age of what surgeries we're having, but good to hear that that was successful, and Kelly's ripping still.
God, no, I see him sometimes. He's pretty low key, but when I see him, I'm very impressed.
Definitely. He had a lot of fun there at that St. Pete event. He was pcompetitive.
Wow, that's great.
Down, throwing those nice freaking tail taps off the hip that he's just always been known to do. Just pop.
Yeah, he's always one of my favorites to watch.
So Alabaster,
Alabama.
Wearing your Kona 25th anniversary shirt.
That's right. I was wondering if you'd see that.
Yeah. Everybody's got one of those in their closet.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in a contest they were having there. And, backside inverts on pool coping in a small pool are just like brutal. But yeah, I was pulling them off. So I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, did I make that one? I don't know. I look pretty.
Yeah. That was stalled out for a little while. Apparently, your butt's way over the coping.
Yeah, I think maybe I fell back on that one a little bit, but I was making them, so.
but sometimes
So
you do inverts in a curve, and this one looks like it was a more of a vertical thing because of how small the walls were. The
Yeah.
backyard pool type thing.
it's like your safety gear has made an upgrade there.
Yeah, I was skating the Smith pads at the time. Yeah, they were good. I still like those, but I'm skating boneless now. So
But look at the style. I like the socks.
Wow. That's
yeah, sometimes I wear bright colors to make the pictures, when people are taking pictures. It's kind of just weird, but yeah.
Is that the story you use when you have to use the compression socks? That you just want
Maybe.
people to be able to
Helps
take
with the
it.
blood flow. My varicose veins.
I never saw Kennesaw. Is that a nice park?
That is, it's elliptical though. So if you ever skated a bowl, you probably have. What's that bowl down in St. Pete, right? No, not St. Pete, below
oh, Sarasota.
Sarasota,
Is
I
that the
think.
one?
Bradenton.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. It's great to carve, but when you go straight, it feels really different for elliptical bowls. But yeah, on the left was Alabaster, the right was a big event. This is the grand opening in Kennesaw, Georgia, which is just north of Atlanta. And I see I have a Deck Crafters shirt on, Vert's Alive from Deck Crafters. So
Vert's alive. Deck Crafters is dead, but
yeah,
I still I still ride a Deck Crafters board. I had Chuck make me up a shape, and
nice.
it's actually it's based off the Kelly Lynn model from Soul Trip, and I had him make up I think 5 of them with the had the Formica on them. What do you call that? The monocoque. So I had a bunch of those made up, and it's like, okay, that's all the boards I'm going to need for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you're like me. My boards last a long time.
I've still got a garage full of boards, but I keep going back to that one. So, but yeah, he made some great wood.
Mhm. Yeah, speaking of chalk, this picture on the left is in Berlin, at the Berlin Skate Hall. That skate park is still there, but the vert ramp is gone. Unfortunately, it was so nice. But I'm skating a Deck Crafters there, one that was sort of a horizontal slice on it. I don't remember, but they had a contest. Gosh, it was a Halloween type contest, but I just decided to go up there one time. I was living in Italy at the time, working for the army. And I said, well, took my daughter out of school and we just jumped on a plane and went to Berlin and skated this huge ramp. It was 13 and a half or 14. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, but it was so perfect. And it had it. If you ever seen the ramp at Vertitac up in Sweden, it's got a little kink on
Malmo,
the side, right? Not a kink, but a little crook, like a little curved section. And this one had that also. It was a really great ramp. I have a video of me doing a frontside invert in there too somewhere. I don't know if I sent that to you yet, but. And then the picture on the right is very recent, just before I moved over here. And that is at the Hangar Bowl,
Hangar
which
Bowl.
was from Charleston back in the day. It's still in Charleston, but it's out on Johns Island, and they just rebuilt it. It's called Beringville Bowl now for Hank Bering, or Hank's Bowl. And he does the Hank's Bowl Bash every year in October. So if anybody's in the Charleston area, look up Hank Bering on Johns Island, and this thing, oh my goodness, it is wonderful to skate, but the waterfall is almost vertical. So if you don't go straight down it. Some people do, but most people carve down at an angle, so you're not flat walling or face planting into the wall in front of you. But yeah, that's a really nice bowl.
It's got that iconic coping.
Yeah, yeah. And in the shallow end, the coping has names of various skater friends of Hank's that have passed away engraved into it. So
right on.
Blaze Bluen, obviously, and some others that were from Charleston or were instrumental during that time in that area. So, yeah,
So here you are. Wait, this is Berlin. This is 13.5 to 14 feet, and you're doing a full invert on it.
yeah.
Jesus. All
Might
right.
as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so this picture on the left, I'm riding a bandwagon board that's before I got a model, but was sponsored by them. If you can see that it's a tail slide, frontside tail slide. What I like to do is pull real hard when I do those frontside grinds, and I slide on my tail quite often. Sometimes it gets a little hairy, but and that is in Jeddo, Michigan, at Rich Pond's house, which is north of Detroit. He has an event there every year called Party at the Ponds, PATP. The Ponds being his name, right? His house. And it's a big event. It's an invite only, but there's a few hundred people that go, spouses included, probably 50, 60 skaters, live bands, and just a really great time. And I plan to go again this year. I told you I was flying back to Huntsville to skate that park. And then me and Paul and a few others are taking a weekend and going up to Rich Pond's house in Jeddo, Michigan to skate this ramp again on the 29th of July, I think 28th or 29th of July. So really great ramp, tail slide. I had some pictures of me doing frontside rocks there that I didn't make, so I didn't want to. I'm trying to get frontside rocks back on vert, but I don't have them anymore. I lost those.
Oh, and to be sure, I appreciate the one pull.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's a rock and roll.
Yeah. And I slapped it. It's just up on the picture.
Very sweet of you to mention me there. So we're gonna go to, I believe this is next. Mount Trashmore.
Trashmore. Wow.
Well, so I never went there. It's legend. What was your experience?
Well, I never went when it was super popular back in the 80s. I was in Hawaii and in the Navy, right? So I finally got stationed back in Virginia Beach in the Norfolk area. And I don't remember exactly when it was, but skateboarding wasn't as thriving as it was then or as it is now. So it's usually me and maybe one other person out there skating. I'm actually skating a Walker Chuck Dinkins model right there. So
Chuck Dinkins. All right.
You remember those, right? The little spoon nosed.
Yeah.
That flyaway, I lost that flyaway somewhere. That was one of the original flyaways, and I can't find it. I don't know where it went, but it was metal, as you can see from the bottom.
No.
And I've skated that for a while, and then Henry Gutierrez and some others opened up the Virginia Beach skate park, which was an indoor skate park there. So I started skating that ramp quite a bit too. It didn't last that long, but yeah, I enjoyed Trashmore. That vert ramp was really good, and then enjoyed it. Didn't have a channel, anything. It was just straight up metal vert ramp. I think 11.5 foot, maybe 12. I don't know.
It got pretty warm, if I remember right. The metal got pretty warm.
Oh, absolutely. You slide down, and if you put your hands down, man, it was like blisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No gnarls. Yeah.
And we used to use a little sugar water on that too, because it would get a little slick. So not heavy, but every once in a while we'd take a little sugar water because it was painted, so it gripped a little bit, but every once in a while we'd put some sugar water on it.
So did you have a favorite color? So the purple Fanta was supposed to be the best.
We actually, I don't know why, but we never use soda. We just take sugar and put it in water and do it.
Probably cheaper.
Probably.
We had a pool that we were skating in Aspen, and it was an all tile pool. The little tiny little square tiles. The whole pool was tiled.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful. It was so much fun. But we were draining it, and then the owner of the pool, or the guy who'd been skating it a lot, comes out. He's like, tell you guys what you got to do. You got to go to, Safeway or whatever it is, just right around the corner, and get, 4 quarts or 4, big things of the purple Fanta. It's got to be purple. And we just cooked it all, and then wiped it down, and it was good for a session.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where skaters are innovative, we'll say.
I've actually used sugar water here. There's one ramp. It's 8 foot wide and about 4 foot tall. And it might be fiberglass, but it feels like plastic. It's about an hour and a half for me. And I went there and I was like, I'm not skating this. So I left and I came back with a little bottle of water and with some sugar in it. And I just did 8 foot wide is hard, right? Back in the day, maybe, but I need some room to skate now. And I skated a little bit, but it's a little small for me and very, so I haven't been back, but it's all there is to skate here in Crete, pretty much. There's about 2.5 hours away, there's a little park that has some concrete, but the walls are so far away from each other, you can't really ride it.
I lived in Spain, so courtesy of the military, I lived in Spain for a few years, and in Zaragoza, and made it to, so this was late 80s. So yeah, late 80s. So skateboarding had pretty much died everywhere. Parks had died, and there was a pay to skate park in Barcelona. So we made the 2 or 3 hour drive to go skate that in Barcelona. And but yeah, same type of thing, kind of janky, and but it was concrete, and that helped. Look at that crowd there. Casey.
Yeah, you guys named some people in this one.
Casey, Quasimodo,
Peter Andrews.
John McGuigan.
Oh, that's a given. That's John.
That's me with the Walker hat on.
Yep. Look at that.
I don't know who.
It must have
been. We're all inside. It was a winter contest.
Apparently.
Because we would.
Was that the one where the guy was stealing skateboards? I can't remember. Do you remember that event?
Yeah, that was a summertime, if I remember.
Yeah.
Look at freaking Walker. He's got a jacket on over his sweatsuit and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
We never got that cold.
And there's Peter Andrews right next to Casey. You see Peter?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good time.
Where's Mark? That was the over there was the who's a what, the pinball machines.
I've got another picture that has Mark in it. This one's not it.
All right, I'll keep looking. I think.
Yeah, I probably didn't send it to you, but it's almost the same picture with Mark Lake in it. So
I've got stuff somewhere. So here we are, Drake's in that.
Yeah, so that Drake's is Brian Drake. He skates with Bandwagon Skateboards. He's got a vert ramp in Wilmington, Leland, North Carolina, just outside of Wilmington, just west of Wilmington.
Just nowhere.
Great scene, very positive. What's that?
It's just lowlands. There's not close enough to the coast. It's a great place, and he does a lot of great stuff. It's just that it's hot.
Oh, it is hot. Yeah. Yeah. So he has an event every Labor Day at his ramp, and his ramp's a little different. It's got an extension on one side with big, like 4 or 5 inch steel pipe on it. It's like a foot extension, so probably 13, a little over 13 to the top of that. That's about 6 feet wide, and then steel coping. The rest of that's the opposite side of this. And then this one has, you can see the bottom right hand corner, there's a channel on the other side. So there's a lot to think about on this ramp for guys like me. I don't have the 12, 13 tricks and the ability to pump into any wall and get any trick I want. So you got to think at this one, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this here and that there, but great ramp. You can do airs over the channel on this wall. The other side, I don't do a whole lot on that extension. Extensions throw me off. But this was a frontside invert taken from down below, obviously. Kind of a cool shot. That
I like the shoe glue and duct tape or whatever.
yeah, a lot of duct tape on my shoes for sure. And I got some of Howard's bulletproof Kevlar laces that I
That's
still
right.
use. I
Shout
still
out
have
to
them in my
Howard
jeans.
Montague, right? Howard Montague.
Yeah. And so trying to remember who took this picture. Either Longwood Scardy or one of my other photog friends. I can't remember, but really appreciate that. I love it when the photographers come and they take so many great pictures.
Yeah, so if any of you guys are watching and you took the pictures, we said on the first slide, proper credit to each and every photographer. Please let me know and we'll make sure you're on the post. Thank you very much. And we'll see.
That other picture was, just to go back, is in Kentucky. They used to have, this ramp's gone now, in Louisville, Kentucky, a place called Ollie's SkatePark. And that ramp was really slick. So we would, obviously, we had a big session there every year during Super Bowl weekend, right? So they call it Super Session. And Brooke Ellsworth took this picture. And anyway, another frontside invert is kind of my thing. I can make frontside inverts better than backside inverts nowadays. So,
Which very few people will say, holy crap.
but yeah, they get a little hard to pull under you sometimes. You have to get the speed just right. But anyway, that was a fun session, a big ramp. That one was 13 also, that ramp. Very big ramp.
My knees don't bend that far anymore. So that's the bad part. Don't ever get old.
Yeah, I won't.
Hey, I gotta punch out, gentlemen.
All right, George.
Man, sorry, I'm taking so much time, George.
I'm stoked. I wish I could stick around. I've got a little 9-year-old that's chomping at the bit to go out of the new skate park in Napomo.
Nice.
So,
Just one? Just gonna have one today?
Yeah, just one. The other, yeah. So we got one that just doesn't like the pain anymore. One's still a glutton. So so they're Declan will still take a digger or two. Azalea is just like, nah, I think I'm done with this. So it's okay. She gave it a whirl.
Yeah, well, have fun, George.
Yeah, have a great time.
Scott, always good to see you, man. Super
Nice
stoked.
seeing you, brother.
Enjoy things over there in Crete, Edgar.
All right.
Peace
Have
out,
a good
gents.
day, George. And thank you for joining us when you can.
Yep.
Take care, buddy. Enjoy St. Louis Obispo in the Chidrins.
Pismo Beach.
Pismo. Oh, okay. Pismo.
San Luis Obispo is where the park is, which is great, but Pismo.
Pismo
Beach.
That's
Pismo
awesome.
Clams.
I dig that place.
Love you guys.
All right,
Enjoy
man.
the day. See ya.
So he's out. So
All right.
we only got a couple more pictures and it's video time.
Oh, okay. Let's see it.
So, we went through this. So you've got a lot of backside inverts, and that is awesome. Oh no, actually, most more frontside hand plants. These are inverts.
Yeah, these are backside. This one is actually this year at Vertitac in Malmo, Sweden. The one on the left with the orange shirt, and it's during a practice run, obviously. But yeah, backside invert, Malmo, Sweden, at the Vertitac event, over 50 contest. In 2017, I made the finals. This year, not so much. A lot more people are, I'm closer to 60 now than 50. So, but skated well, made a frontside invert, made a backside invert, some other tricks, and really great event. If anybody has a chance to go to skate to Vertitac in Malmo, Sweden, every spring, it's a wonderful event that they put on up there. It's a great ramp. It's small, but it skates really good. So small being 11 and a half, something like that.
That's just fine. People riding mini ramps that are 3 feet high and having a big time. So 11 and a half might be small to you. But let me ask you, see Superfly bearings. What kind of bearings do you ride?
I skate various bearings. You know, sometimes the cheapest ones I can find, and sometimes Superfly.
Oh, I got you.
Superfly, they're really good bearings. They're kind of the purple is in their graphics, and the
Yes,
covers
they're right here
purple.
on the coping. The picture right
Oh
here.
yeah, Superfly, yes, Superfly Speedball. He's a great guy. He sponsors a lot of events. That picture on the right there with the red shirt is last year at Labor Day at Drake's again, at Brian Drake's house. So, but yeah, Superfly, and then Speed Lab wheels. That sticker next to it. I skate Speed Lab wheels quite often. These are Speed Lab wheels in that picture actually, and I'm trying to remember whose wheels those are. Jeremy's maybe, I can't remember. But yeah, Speed Lab wheels, Superfly, Speedball bearings. Sound like a NASCAR guy, right? Boneless pads,
Well,
boneless. What are the knee gaskets, right? No, those not boneless. I'm sorry, the old bones therapy.
oh yeah,
Yeah, those
they
knee
are
gaskets.
advertising, aren't they? They
Yeah,
are
love the
really
old bones therapy. Guy that owns that is Brandon, great guy. And then the boneless knee pads and bandwagon skateboards. That's it.
that. Well, if you would make a note, I would like you to send me JPEGs or at least a list of your sponsors so we can put them in the tail end of this.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Or somewhere in a commercial as well. So I can't remember the guys from Superfly. He's from right around here.
Is he?
He came to a build we did, and he was really involved for a year or so, and then he got involved with trying to make a living. So obviously you got to go. It's hard to get market share.
Yeah.
And but I'm glad to see him representing you, riding his stuff. I know that just looking at all this stuff, how many skateboards do you think you had that were your everyday board?
I if I understood the question correctly, I only really skate one board. That's
Right.
it.
But what I meant was, like, over the years, how many setups, how many times have you had that one board? And I mean, how many one boards have you had? It's got to be
Oh,
in the hundreds.
I couldn't count that. I'm telling you, man. I've been doing this a long time, as you know, and I took about 3 years off when I first joined the Navy.
Right.
And then after that, I moved to Hawaii and started skating again. Got sponsored again by Walker. Bruce was very gracious, and that's when Nightmares were out. They didn't have the Nightmare when I first skated for Walker. And then Bruce was sending me boards out in Hawaii, and I was skating in Hawaii with Christian and Cab. This is all before Christian got into a little bit of trouble out there, as most people know about.
Yeah.
But I used to skate this ramp called the Peace Ramp. And I don't know if you have it, but we had a picture. Yeah, it was in one of the pictures, me doing a frontside rock. That was on a ramp that we did. There was a bicycle company or shop that had a vert ramp, and we do demonstrations for various events when I was in Hawaii. And again, back then I could do frontside rocks on vert, but it's been a while.
I might have skipped over it, but I'm always terrified if I mess up because George gives me a hard time.
That's okay.
Or my IT lack of skills. So, but I do want to go back and get that as soon as I get out of this full screen. I'm going to dig through what you sent me. How deep were you here, Scott?
That's actually not me. It's a picture of a deep sea diver that I don't know where you got that. I didn't send you that, did I? But from a website, or because I've built some websites about deep sea diving in the past.
This is on LinkedIn.
I just thought I really love this picture, but this is what I did for a living. This is called a Mark 21 diving helmet. And you say up here it says extreme deep scuba diver, but that it's really a deep sea diver.
Okay.
Scuba is self-contained underwater breathing apparatus.
What did you call it?
Just deep sea diver. SEA, yeah, space. Okay. Yep.
So that must
Traveled all over the place, stationed all over the place, Hawaii, Panama City Beach, skated with Clint Deaton and Jeff Walsh a bit down there in Panama
Wow.
City. There.
So, so that's cool. The dive you did on the rescue and the retrieval of the passengers, that's hard
Yeah.
enough. That's hard enough work to do, but then you've got to try to stay alive and not get wrapped in cables and electrical and batteries and
Oh yeah. That was
fuel and all that. And that just seems very, very scary.
yeah, it was when you look at the time it was just fun, but when you look back you're like, man, that was crazy. Pretty treacherous things you go through. But to answer your question, in general, I was a mixed gas diver, air and mixed gas, but the deepest normally go is about 300 feet below the surface, 300 feet of seawater for open water diving. But I've dove in one atmosphere submarine rescue chambers down to 850 feet below the surface.
Ugh.
I did that for a few years in the Navy.
That's I mean, did anything in skateboarding help you with that?
Yeah, you know, learning, obviously getting in good shape, skating around in in Florida in the heat.
Gosh. All right, so let's see.
Overcoming obstacles was a big part of it. I think that was really important, right? That, as we all know, when you skateboard, you learn to overcome obstacles to achieve success. So that's the biggest thing skateboarding has taught me is, persevere, push through things, and get the job done.
Find that.
What are you looking for?
Frontside rock.
You had it a second ago. Keep scrolling back. There it is, bottom in the center. That one. No, next one over. Other side. There you go. That's the frontside rock.
No, wait, I don't want to open. I'm sorry. I actually have gotten a lot better at this. I know that it's doesn't seem so. And that's what, 12 feet, or is that 16-foot ramp?
No, well, I think it's 12 foot tall and 16 foot wide. It was pretty narrow, but boy, we love that ramp, man. And you can see it's masonite. The pre-skate light days in Hawaii, masonite didn't last long, right, with the weather. But this one was a portable ramp that we would set up for demos. This company, Bike Factory, sponsored the events, and this one actually was for the Navy. It was called a spring fling. I was the only Navy guy out there skating. Everybody else were locals, right? Some really great skaters, Grant Fukuda and this guy named Eugene, Jeff Hartzell, if you've heard of him from Alva.
I have heard of Hartzell.
Jeff Hartzell used to skate there. Eugene skated for Alva also. The yellow sticker, there's a Walker sticker right below my front wheels, the black one. And then the yellow sticker is a Jimmy's, like a Jimmy Z when they were popular. Yeah, I'd stick Walker stickers on everything back then. But yeah, I used to do frontside rocks. I could deck them out and then come right back in, but a little slower on the turnaround now. I don't get them all the way in. I'm pretty close to making them, but I lack a vert ramp to practice on right now. So
that is it's understandable. But frontside rock is I'll never, let me get this over here. I just can't imagine, because I remember doing the normal ones and thinking, this is hard. I can't imagine doing it backwards when it's full commitment. You can't see where you're going. You got to
really stay leaned back on a frontside rock with your toe on the board. Most people know that have tried them. But
watching El Garo, El Gato, whatever. This is Kona, right?
Yeah, this is Kona. I was down there for one of our Florida skater events, and I just wanted to make an invert on that old skate light.
It used to be skate light.
Yeah, now it's sponge light, right? It's like,
Yeah, it's been
almost
there. It's been there a minute, right?
yeah. That didn't show up on my screen. Can you do that again?
Oh, hold on. Let me make sure. What do you see on your screen? Now, do
I
you
mean, I saw it, but then it just flipped past. It didn't show the trick.
Oh,
I mean, I've seen it, but I don't know if it'll pop up on the video.
all right, let's try this. Can you see the ramp now? You ready to drop in?
Yeah. Yeah, just hit play and let's see what happens.
All right.
It's a big ramp too.
Yeah, it is.
There
Did
you
you see
go.
it? Do you see it?
Yeah, it's a little jumpy, but you get it. You get the gist of it. Yeah.
Not too bad. I mean, that ramp is what, 11 to 12 feet? And then
Oh, I think it's 13.
it is 13 because I tried to pump up it.
Yeah, it ain't a
Not
joke.
good. And I wasn't going to drop in it.
Yeah, just dropping in was like, damn, this thing's pretty big.
We had,
Oh
I went to one of those Kona jams and Lincoln Ueda was there.
wow.
And I was like, oh, it was when I was still drinking, Scott. So it was before 2006. And I walked up there with a cup of beer and walked up to the top of the Kona ramp saying, oh, who these guys think they're all that good. And I was quickly humbled and put in my place by guys going 3 or 5 feet over my head. I'm just going to watch. So where are we now?
Oh, this is at Brian Drake's ramp in Wilmington. And you see the channel on the left, and you can kind of see the extension on the right side there. Yeah, the big coping on it. I avoided that, but Labor Day Drake's, Brian Drake, the sledgehammer.
Why would
Brian,
why would he make that extension coping? Oh, there it is.
Here, this is good because it shows a 58-year-old man falling down on it.
Well, I can laugh because I know you're all right, but
Yeah,
you can't
that was
slide.
pretty wild. I landed on the coping, and then I got ballsy and took my shirt off and said, "I'm gonna make this sucker." Boom.
Yeah, that was just
For the
so
year, I
clean.
think that was 2 years ago. I think I was 58.
That was so clean though. Just bang bang. It's a study in efficiency. I'm going from point A to point B, and then I'm rolling away. That is it's a clean move. It's not
Thank you.
it's not easy, especially when you're not sure. I don't know why I've got multiple screens and they keep going on. Do you see yourself in where are we? This
is in Huntsville, Alabama, 8-foot ramp that we had there. We called it GBC, or the Gentleman's Business Center, because half of the building was offices that my friends used. My friend Kenny Kirby and Brandon, they used that as their home office, office away from home, but they worked from the other side. And then he built this 8-foot indoor vert ramp there, and it was really hot, but really great ramp. So
looks fun.
Yeah, it was a fun ramp, man. But yeah.
Oh, look at there, foot plant.
Yeah, backside boneless. So fakey rock. And I think I do a frontside rock here. I don't remember. Yeah, frontside rock. There you go.
That is coolest, man. That is the coolest. Yeah, so I lost track of all the names of the tricks. I think that when I was leaving skating, it was people were doing the Madonna and they call them the reverse of it as Sean Penn. And since every trick stacks on top of each other now, it's a switch front side to nollie to all this is like you have to have a paragraph to name a trick.
Oh man, I'll tell you, I lose track of what stuff is. Yeah, if it's not old school, I don't know what you call it.
I watch Frazier, and I just know that most of his stuff is to revert,
Oh
But
yeah, those guys down in Ocala are killing it, man. I got to get down and skate that ramp.
well, it's just unfortunate that I think they really built the St. Pete pool with Mike in mind. And
Yeah,
I think he got hurt in there and said, I'm having more fun with Phil. So it's because that pool, have you been to the St. Pete pool?
no, I've heard it's a bear though, a big one.
It looks big. It looks really big because you go in and it has that waterfall effect, right? You go in and it's
Yeah.
9 or 10 feet, and then you got to go down 3 or 4 more feet, and there's 2 corners.
Yeah,
It's just kind of like you've got to go on an angle in order to. Phil Hajal was working it, but not pushing. Like he wasn't trying to kill it, which is pretty smart.
yeah.
So this is Kona. This is pool version 2.0.
Yeah, this is the second version of the Kona's pool when they cut that weird little channel out from the shallow end. And
Right.
that shallow end's still really tight, but it's a little rough to skate now. It's for me anyway. I'm kind of like
It's a dang shame. And it doesn't even really, in some places, it's not really vert.
yeah, it's a challenging pool. We're a little bit spoiled nowadays too, but this was in a contest down there in Kona. That is Dan Brown. This is me.
Ah, look at that. Yep. We have a valid.
That's my friend Mark. There's Mike Daly, and here I am again.
Vert Alive.
Yeah, yeah. So I was happy to squat out of that one and make it.
I want to see this. This guy is Mike Daly, guys.
Yeah, such a great
Looks,
guy.
one of the funniest guys.
Yeah.
But still ripping too. But that's a killer layback. Grinding layback.
Yeah, layback grind.
Oops.
That's a tough trick because you got to really keep your leg strength up for that one.
Right, and it's kind of a last trick of your run if you're doing a timed run because you don't have any speed. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah, I think this is the same thing, but in I believe it's in Alabaster, not Alabaster, Kennesaw again, if I remember.
Oh man, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's a tough trick, man. You don't see those anymore hardly.
No,
I think it still does them.
and I dig them because what's the trickiest part is right here. It's like, okay, please stop sliding.
Exactly. Yeah, because a lot of times it just keeps going, right? You have to push down on your feet to stop it, right?
and your feet aren't exactly have any leverage. And then there's trust that you're going to be able to guide it underneath you. So right there, you've made it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good feeling right there.
Now it's just that next half second to where you're on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the move. I'm trying to teach kids the move, and they don't like having to try to learn it. And I'm like, well, if you don't want to learn it, you won't have another trick in your bag that judges will like. So this looks like you were talking about this, and George was talking. I was like being quiet. I was like, this just seems so opposite. We have an equestrian high dollar facility.
Yeah.
With a really nice ramp in it too.
Yeah, my best friend Paul, Paul Giro, bandwagon skateboard. He's very fortunate. He's been very successful and doing a lot of hard work. But he's got this really nice farm in lower Tennessee, just below Nashville, just above the Alabama border. And he again hosts it's called the Tennessee Rose, and he has this Rage at the Rose every year in the fall. And this is the building's finished now, but he has an outdoor horse arena you see on the far side. Then he built an indoor horse arena that his wife Rhonda and a physical therapist that they know, they do horseback riding therapy for people that need that physical therapy, but through horseback riding. As a sort of a volunteer charity event. But he built this big indoor arena, and so he added onto it. The skate park is outside, but it's undercover. It's got a big fan above it. It's got a nice lighting, and it's got nice sound system. Just a really great ramp. And Skidmark SkateParks built it. This guy named John Saxton, I believe his last name. Perfect ramp. But this is Paul's ramp in Ardmore, Tennessee. If you have the opportunity, contact me or Paul Giro. I could put you in contact with them. They skate there 2 or 3 times a week, and really great ramp, great group of guys.
It's almost unreal.
Yeah.
That you go to a place like that and do this. They don't seem to fit together. Is he putting a net up to keep the boards from hitting the horses?
He has not. That the center wall where the boards are against the wall. He's now our good friend Gabrielle or Gabby. Try to pronounce her name, Ratsiak, something like that. She's from up north, but she painted this wonderful mural on there of roses for the Tennessee Rose.
Oh,
right? So that's painted. No, he's got handrails up there, and there's no issue really. Your board might hit one of those podium or the concrete wall or something, but the horses aren't in there. They just use it here and there. They don't do skating and horseback riding at the same time. But yeah, people pull up to Paul's place and they come down his driveway, and they're pretty amazed that there's a skate scene there. He's got a mini ramp outside also that is really nice. That's not covered, but again, he hosts skate events there at least twice a week, and just this last week they had a big barbecue, and people come up. Very gracious and great guy.
So this is the home of Bandwagon?
No. He skates for Bandwagon with me, but Bandwagon's mostly out of Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Bandwagon Skateboards.
I want to make sure I get Bandwagon Skateboards mentioned.
Bandwagon Skateboards.
Yes.
Robbie Collins, Dave Malachi Smith, and Mark Pfeiffer. This video is in Berlin, that big ramp I was telling you about.
Wow.
You see the curved wall over on the right side. It's a pretty wild ramp, but very big, at least 13 foot. I can't remember how big it is, but in Berlin, Germany.
A nice crowd.
And that was 2017, I believe. Maybe 16.
This is just before COVID.
Yeah.
Wow. Seth Slide. Never could do.
And I didn't know anybody there. They were all speaking German, and I was the only. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm here. I'm gonna skate." So, and I set my GoPro up on this where it is.
So you clipped your GoPro up there and just let it.
I just set it on the coping or on some stanchion or something over there, and hope nobody would steal it. And then I went and skated. So I caught that. Since I've been 50, I've been like, I'm gonna try to capture as many good tricks as I can on video, because this stuff is fleeting, right? So that was a good one. It was fun.
That's one of the ideas behind this whole thing we're doing.
Yeah.
We appreciate you sharing this stuff with us, because it's somebody somewhere. And if you're out there listening to this or watching this, please comment and just tell us where you're watching this at. So
yeah, that'd be great.
This is a minute and a half. Where are we at?
This is Virginia Beach Skate Park. Yeah, Virginia Beach Skate Park. Henry Gutierrez, Rob, Pee Wee. I don't know who else built it, to be honest with you. I wasn't super tight with those guys when I lived there. I just skated with them. I've gotten to know Henry a little better over the years, but this is 1999. I think this is actually the last time I made a frontside rock and roll on vert. You'll see that in this video. And my son Scotty was videotaping this. So
A little bit tight. January. Gosh. I said Bert.
yeah. Let's see what I'm doing.
That's
Frontside invert, boom. Little nicer back then. That was a long
Oh,
time ago.
rock to fakie.
Yeah. There you go. I think I do a frontside rock here. Oh no, not yet.
It's set up for it. You didn't want that much speed. I got it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, you got to slow down on those babies. You don't want to be too much.
Yeah, I mean, up there banging the deck is flirting with disaster. Oh, that's a good angle.
Yeah, that was 99, a long time ago already.
Well, we were getting ready to do the Y2K build, right, IT man?
Yeah, that's
We're
right.
going to turn into, pumpkin.
I wasn't in IT in 99. I was doing deep sea diving stuff still back then.
I sold a lot of computer support infrastructure to people who were preparing for 000.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was come on now, come on man. There you go. This
Yeah,
is your home away from home for a while.
it really was. Barry had two shops. His first shop was a little house north of Tallahassee, Florida, and then this was big time. He moved it to Timberline Square Mall, is what they called it, I think. And he had this little shop inside a strip mall there. Did you ever go there?
I didn't even know it was a thing until I saw this picture.
Yeah, and Barry, he had an airbrush painter or an airbrush painting on the wall of a surfer in a tube, and it looked sort of animated, and it came out as a skateboarder coming out of the tube. So it was really cool. And then the floors and the cabinets and shelving were all custom made out of wood that we helped him with, reclaimed barn wood that was planed down and polyurethane, all this old pine that and we used to skate on that. And then
I like the handmade sign.
yeah, it was a cool shot. It was fun.
Let's see what it does.
I think Phil took this video, right? And this is me doing layback airs on that little quarter pipe.
Let's make sure. What have I got? What did I name this thing? Nothing. This might be Phil's. This might be the video from Phil.
This is Phil's video, positive.
Did you send me this one?
I did, but it's Phil's video.
Yeah, I got you. So look at this thing.
Watch my hand slide.
Yeah. Now where are we at?
Okay, this was, I'm trying to remember if it was, I think it was Travis Clayton's backyard, but this was, as you know, a typical half pipe back in the day. No real template, or what they call it,
That's okay.
good framing.
Yeah, the framework that.
So just 2x4s pushing, holding it up. And you see Barry in the center there with his green shirt. Jeff Farnham with a white helmet. My friend Lee Nettles, and I'm not sure who else.
That almost looks like a helmet I had once, but I don't think I was. I was never good at ramps because they freaked me out.
Yeah,
when they would give.
To be honest with you, Ed, I didn't even remember this until I saw Phil's video, and I went, "Whoa, that's me!" And to be even even more revealing is I didn't remember ever doing layback airs until I saw this video, and I was like, wow, I don't remember doing those.
Well,
And then see,
there was a backside lift off air.
yeah, that was Lee Nettles, I believe. That's Lee. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe Jeff. That's Jeff Walsh. That's Jeff Farnham.
So
Frontside ollie back in. That's pretty early, right?
he's got the heel pads on,
Oh yeah, yeah.
ankle pads.
The ankle biter pad things. Remember those?
Yeah, they as funny as that, for people watching, SIO Barry was a physical science major and all about exercising and safety. And so this was like one of the only groups of people that you would skate with where safety was a big thing and everybody had all their pads on. Barry was all about that, and it was very nurturing and encouraging. Just, you know, most gnarly video, you know, the guys aren't even wearing a helmet or a shirt, but we wore everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Now, who is that? I don't think that's me.
I don't know who that was.
This, I'm trying to remember.
Because I've been trying to think who it is.
Is that Kelly?
I mean, he could be, but I thought he was still
He's
small.
got the Clyde slide. There's a Clyde slide on
And it could be a Markel.
there.
Wooden rails on it.
Let's see.
I just
Kelly wasn't that tall back then. He was.
Kelly is goofy,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
isn't he?
I don't remember.
I think he is based on some recent pictures, but the helmet is different. So this was a petty plant or whatever that was called. Whoever
That was me, that one. No, that wasn't a petty plant. I don't know what they called it, layback air, a rock and roll, and then you grab the board and come out like a layback air.
Okay, so this,
Yeah. No, that's not me, is it? No.
I think it's the same guy.
Same
He's
guy,
got the same
yeah.
helmet. So that guy, see, that was a Wampole.
That was a one pull. I'm talking about the one before.
Oh,
He grabbed it and came in front side. Before that one.
before this.
This one.
Okay, so he goes and stops in he's regular foot, and then he grabs the board and go back in like a layback, half of a layback air.
Yep. And there's
And
a
then
tip.
stop rock and roll. So this would have been a Wampole.
Yeah, there's the one pull.
So why would anybody ever do it that way unless Martin hadn't invented the right way yet? Or we didn't see the pictures yet. So it makes me proud to see.
Yeah, that's old school, man. Look at that ramp, right? That's early days.
This, I don't know where I got this one. This is a minute 21. So let's give this a watch. This
has got a couple tricks in it. Yeah. At Rage at the Rose or the Tennessee Rose ramp. Backside invert.
stretching them pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling 100% that day, but I was making a couple tricks.
Some days you know you got it, and some days you know you don't.
You
So
see my feet are flopping a little bit, but
well, you're landing it.
yeah.
That's one thing about a backside invert is you know you have it when you get all the way upside down. That was a kick out.
Yeah, I didn't make that. And here's frontside invert, I think. Yep.
Boom. It's so cleanly done. I mean, there's no way your body can stretch it, right? It's from one position to the other, and then you got to commit back. That was good. Nose grab. Was that you do a tail slide every time you grab that nose on a grinder?
Most of the time, it just depends. Sometimes it doesn't get that. I don't have the speed. Here's a good one, I think.
Again. So
Yeah.
seems like that would be a slippery endeavor.
Yeah, the main thing with the frontside invert like that, the way I do them especially, is you have to go straight up the wall and pull like hell and straight back down. If you carve it at all, you're not going to land it. At least not at my age, right? I've got to really go straight and get a lot of speed to get the board really upside down, right? So that I can pull it back under me. But yes, fun times. That, a perfect ramp doesn't hurt, right?
No, yeah, well, you're right. It does help. I'm trying to find where I put the video. Here we go. So this one we got to clean up because I put the wrong time date stamp in here for this first guy. I don't know who he is, but he had a white helmet. And I thought maybe that was you, but he's actually Goofy Foot.
No, that's not me. I think that might be my friend Lee Nettles.
There's
Was
a
this
little bit of that
long
guy.
one?
Huh?
Was this long?
This could have been Clyde Rogers.
Oh, that was Sensation Basin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just watch him and then then he's done.
Well,
So
he's got that helmet like mine, doesn't he?
That's Goofy Foot
Yeah.
and same manufacturer helmet. But I
think
can't.
Clyde was.
Might have been a Markel. Clyde was regular foot.
I was going to say, Clyde was so good back then. I don't know who that is.
I can't read what's on the back of his shirt. I mean, this is tape that's been transferred so many times.
Yeah.
There's no volume. I've got the volume cranked all the way up. So he'll be done shortly.
But yeah.
See the styles of the clothes that are being worn in the background. This is 78, I think.
That does look like Clyde's face, though, doesn't it? A little bit. Yeah.
It kind of does. There's a Clyde slide on there.
The Clyde slide, for sure.
All right. So now.
That's you, right? No, that's Barry.
This is Session at Petty's. That is Barry Zaritsky.
Yeah.
Then Sean.
There's Sean.
And then you.
Oh, that's me. Yeah.
So it's fun watching Barry.
Oh, I made it. I don't remember you had video of me making one.
It's kind of nice, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the first pool coping too, right? When you couldn't
Yeah, God, it was terrible stuff.
We wouldn't even skate that pool nowadays.
No, I mean, you would get in there and you would get one speed hit curve and then come over to that left hip.
Yep.
And then from there, it was just struggling.
Yeah, look at Sean. And he's got the pizza grip, right? The grip tape, the pizza grip tape.
Yeah, may he rest in peace. And him and Jimmy Odom. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is playing over again, but there's a lot more, so we'll just keep going. So yeah, you pulled it off. You were jellyfish on the bottom. That was like Kelly Lynn. There you go.
Oh, wow. I don't know that I've seen this. Is that me?
Yes, it is.
Wow. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen that video. That's cool. Sensation Basin. Huh. That was so crazy. You'd go up that big wall on the side and just ride and then try to get one trick off the other side.
It was very hard to work and took a lot of practice. And if you messed up, if you didn't hit your points, you had to stop and then run out of this extremely large bowl. I've got tape, Scott, I've been looking at of the building of the park.
Yeah.
And we know about how that one side you just went down slid in the rain. So what I didn't know when I was watching the making of the park was that it also affected what they were going to call the serpentine run. And that was the trough. the trough was going to be 8 feet deep. 8 feet deep and curvy. There's Tony Romano.
Yeah, yeah, there's Tony. That was Travis before him, Travis Clayton. And there's Tony.
And Barry, who always scared me so much to watch him.
Oh gosh, I know.
He's like freaking out.
Yeah, and for reference, this is a parking lot with a vert quarter pipe down at the end of it.
Yeah, and it's
push, and hit the ramp, right?
we've got IPS stickers on there.
Yeah, any stickers I could get for free, pretty much.
Who's this guy?
That's
Donnie Meyer.
No, it wasn't Donnie. He didn't come up there with us. Donnie was young back then.
That's right.
He was pretty young. I'm good friends with Donnie now. I skate with him in Nashville.
He's a good guy. So I was saying.
Yeah.
Franklin.
Wow, I hadn't seen all of this. This is great. Yeah. So funny. Yeah, there's Travis Clayton. He lives down in Havana, Florida now.
So I just don't know how this thing. Well, you guys were 80 pounds. That helped.
Yeah.
Right.
Travis broke his arm on this ramp, and a compound fracture, just fell and put his arms out in front of him. But yeah, look at Tony.
Tony was extreme short hair as a fireman or something now. And,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I can't. I've seen him. I've talked to him a little bit, and it's such a change between long blonde hair dude. He got IPS sticker on his shirt.
Yeah.
Boy, the pure gluttony and waste of stickers. I still have stickers that I've had for years, and I don't know when I'm going to start. I put them all over my car the other day, a bunch of them.
I've got a drawer full of old Walker skateboard stickers that I saved. Not as many as Sam Muir, but
oh boy, Sam has got a sickness. He's got a lot of them.
He does. Yeah.
I sent him. I have only one left. Original Boards for Bros sticker. So I sent him one of those. But there you go, do slow motion.
Oh, I love all this video that I've not even seen before. It's so great.
Let's see it again, because this is.
I'm gonna have to relearn frontside or layback airs.
The SIO shirts were there.
Yeah.
You close up. Basin stickers. You'd been down to Gainesville lately.
Oh yeah, we used to go every other weekend probably down there and skate with you guys.
It was a long drive.
It was, and Barry's tan van. You remember that van?
Yeah, it wasn't like there was a bunch of nice seating in it.
There was no us and Jay Jr. And then he would have a cooler full of food, right?
Yeah.
And it was tomatoes, crackers, matzah, whatever,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Philadelphia cream cheese, and he would not stop at fast food for us. He's like, nope, you're not eating that junk, because he's vegetarian, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is that you?
No, that's not me. I think that's my friend Brad McLeod. It could be Steve Rayburn. I'd have to see it again. I wasn't watching. I think that's Brad McLeod. Yeah, you see that tail tap? Yeah, that was Brad.
So
he does a tail tap and then to grind and then back in. That's me there.
Ah,
I saw that one before. Again, that coping, man, was poured concrete. 2 inches.
I know, God, it looked. Oh, this is funny. I don't know if you're in this or not.
No, I never went down and saw Barry. Is this down in Eleuthera?
No, I mean, it wasn't in Eleuthera. I don't know where it was. It might have been. I don't know. It was just a day trip in the middle of everything. I saw that. And look at you. There you go.
Yeah, that's a layback airs there on that ramp. It's that clip again.
Yeah, Phil likes to, he's only got so much, so he wants to, make it easy to see. I like the look on people's faces. Like, you don't usually have a look on your face, but when you do the backside invert, your mouth's wide open. Like,
Yeah.
what's that about? You never really know. You're trying to not kill yourself.
No, I know. Yeah, you see a lot of people sticking their tongue out when they do tricks and things like that.
It's a good way to lose your tongue.
Yeah, it is.
So let's see what else Phil's got in here. You see the ramp jiggling every time you guys hit it?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no platforms. It's funny.
Didn't Russ Thompson have a ramp in his yard? Come on, Phil.
You know, I was watching the Skateboarding Bros video with the Mir brothers, right? And that ramp looked so familiar. There was a ramp in Tallahassee that was just like that one. I don't know if that one that they were talking about mostly was in Tallahassee, probably not. But I skated there with Clint Deaton one time, and man, it was a big ramp. And that guy could shred. And Clint's living, I don't know if you know Clint, but he lives in Panama City, Florida now. He was a pro for Vision for many years. And now he's got a half pipe in his backyard down in Florida, skating again after a lot of years off, but really great guy.
Well, you need
to YouTube is clean and sober, which is really great for him. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's great for a lot of us.
Yeah.
It was about time for me. So, but no, we'll have to get him. We've got about a year and a half to get your reservations for wherever they decide they're going to have the next Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I wish I could have made it this year, but I had just moved over here to Crete, so the trip back wasn't going to happen. So
yeah, well, they don't give. How can I say this? The organizational skills of skateboarders is relatively suspect anyway. I can see who's texting me. Yeah, so as you skate around, I mean, this has been 40 years.
Yeah, long time, more than 40 years.
Yeah. So what have you seen? I mean, you went through Bird is Dead, and you've gone through countless trips and excursions. What makes you keep coming back?
I'll tell you, I'm just hooked on it. Probably the biggest part for me, besides just the fact that I love to ride skateboards, and mostly on vert, but in parks and vert and bowls, but is the people I skate with. It's just such a camaraderie and such a brotherhood and sisterhood of positive energy and good friends doing good things. When you and I grew up, the skateboarding had a negative connotation, and that's turned around quite a bit. You obviously you get some bad apples in every bunch, but by far, most people that I know that have grown up skateboarding, that are skateboarding, that used to skateboard, have used that improvise, adapt, and overcome mentality to achieve success in their life, right? Like you were trying to learn a kickflip when we were kids, right? Or how many 360s you could do. Not as many as Rodney, but maybe a few more than you did the day before, right?
Right.
You try again, and you push. And there's not a lot of room for laziness. You got to be in good shape. You gotta be willing to fail to achieve success. Like you said, some of these kids don't want to try to learn some things, but we were so driven, and I still am. I mean, my friend Paul and I were talking just the other day. He's trying to learn relearn backside rock and rolls, and we're putting down like stock options on whether and when he makes his backside rock and roll on vert, right? And he's 60. Right? He turned 60 this month, actually.
That's a great trick and a great goal for a 17-year-old. For a 60-year-old, it's amazing. But what you're saying and you're describing is that feeling. I mean, if you went out to any park and you were a beginner and you got better and you started clicking off the tricks and adding tricks, but you were skating alone, it wouldn't even be a thing. You learn a trick, like your friend learns that backside rock and roll or invert or whatever it is he's trying to perfect. And then he doesn't tell you, and then you guys get together someplace on the road and skate, and he breaks it out, and then he's going to look at you, and that's his pay, is you being happy for him. And it's what we found out when you're in Tallahassee. We do the skate, the summer we'd skate at the Basin, we'd skate at Rainbow Wave, we skate at Clearwater, maybe go down to Lauderdale, Kona. Orlando really didn't have a lot. We went to Fort Pierce for 1 year, but it was like a Rocky Horror Picture Show. There's like 20 people in the whole movie.
Yeah.
The people in the first scene that are in the church are now the people that are in the weird castle. It was the same people at every contest because there was only like 200 of us. That was it.
Yeah, whether it's Clearwater, Tomoka Moon Forest, Kona, Sensation Basin, Rainbow Wave, you'd see guys, all of us, you'd see Kelly, Mike McGill, Rodney would always be there, Monty Nolder, Mike Daly. I could keep rambling on with names, right?
Monty's my curveball. He's the reason I had to stop.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was good for 15 minutes, and then Monty moved to Gainesville. I was not good.
The guy was insane, man.
Yeah.
I'm not good friends with him, but I skated with him a few times down there, and man, it was so fun to skate with him. And I joke around, and we used to come down, and I'm kind of rambling on, but one of my claim to fame is I spent the night at Rodney Mullen's house, because we'd spend the night at Rodney's pool house, right? I don't know if you were over there, but we'd all go crash at his pool house, and it was like, now people are like, you knew Rodney Mullen? It's like, yeah, man, I used to skate with him and McGill and Gelfand, and it was awesome.
Rodney, his mom was really nice. I used to thumb back and forth to Clearwater. That's where I lived. And I went to a contest. I don't know how I got a ride from Gainesville down there. And near the end of the weekend, I realized that it was going to get dark in a little while, and that it was time to go back to Gainesville, and I got a ride with him. So I sat in the back of her van and listened to her and him talk. And we didn't hear Rodney talk that much. So it was really nice, and she was real sweet. He entered 3 or 4 events and got first place in all of them.
Of course, yeah.
Freestyle, of course, and like even bull riding and cross country. I mean, it was crazy. But that was
I remember those cross country contests down there too. Yeah, I think I placed in one of them.
Yeah, that was an interesting part of the old parks was a bank slalom and some sort of park cross country. Did you ever do the cross country at Sensation Basin? We never ran it as a contest.
No, you didn't, because I remember there was some kind of snake run.
So you had to bank slalom.
Oh, that's what it was, a bank slalom. Yeah, we did it. I remember doing it, pushing and going through all this.
Right. So you go down there and you'd have to hit the second wall, which was kind of weird. And then you curve.
Yeah, that was
right.
The second wall.
No, the second wall was crazy. So then the third wall, then you would curve down the bank slalom, down the trough, right? So what I did, I came up with it. I would come up out of the trough, go up and come down between the 2 sets of, there was benches on that wall from where in the waiting, if you're way back looking down at the pool bowl, there was benches up there on the wall that went up. So I'd go up and go down between the benches, come down, go down between more benches into the original freestyle area.
Yeah.
You know where you're at now? right?
Yeah,
And then carve on that bank, come out, pop over into the surf run, go around the surf run, go around the back of what we call the Monster Bowl, which was going to be called the half pipe. I've learned a lot of this stuff, looking at the old videos. Through the half pipe and out through the freestyle area, and then go and pump all the way around the lake. I did it one time to show people, and they said, no one's going to beat you. You can't do that. And,
yeah.
and it was a 2-minute run too, because
So the roller skating rink was there by then, though.
yeah. So we had a roller skate rink around a stocked lake with fish in it.
The lake. Yeah.
It was a real, everybody says the vibe, how you went there, but it was a gnarly vibe, or just kind of weird, cold. Like you went to a German contest where no one knew your name and videoed yourself. That's a lot of that's confidence too. You don't want to go in there and be terrible. So it was interesting, that you go there and it's a strange vibe, but if you go back, you meet more and more people. I think the biggest stoke is the fellowship, right?
It really is. Yeah.
And
I mean, look at you and I. We don't talk very often, but we have talked throughout the years, from back in the 70s to now, 2023. Yeah. So we're still, friends and acquaintances, and able to relive, past experiences like they were, last year, really.
it seems like yesterday, because it was a long way to get to the sensation, to the park. And you see what we've done kind of with the logo. I'm messing it all up, but we own it. Phil owns it, so we don't have to worry about getting in trouble. So it is I put a little lightning bolt on the guy's shirt. I don't know who this was, Steve Cathy, or I forget. Was that who that was? I can't.
I'm not sure. That looks sort of like that, one of those old pictures.
Yeah. So, all right. So Phil will be yelling at me to wrap this up because it's 12 o'clock. So, see if I can do that. So we had a great show. Thank you for joining us. We had Phil Chiocchio, former owner of Sensation Basin, and now the guru of the Skateboarding Bro Show, George McClellan out of San Luis Obispo. More importantly, we have Scott Hughston here for 2 hours, all the way from Crete and Greece. And, yesterday he's on the beach with his wife, and today he's talking to us about 40 years of skateboarding. So, Scott, man, we really appreciate you coming, and we hope you guys all watch it and look for what is the name of the skateboard deck that your sponsor is. It's the
Bandwagon Skateboards.
Bandwagon Skateboards.
Bandwagon Skateboards.
And the name of the model?
The Scott Hughston and Paul Giro Bro model.
You can't miss that. So you guys check it out. And they're out of Atlanta, right?
Yeah, in general, out of Atlanta. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's impossible. But it's getting blurry, but I don't know how to set up.
That's all right. We'll get it. Send me a JPEG of it and we'll put it up.
I will. Hey, Ed, thank you very much. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. What you're doing with Boards for Bros is amazing. Glad to support that as much as I can and when I can. So love seeing the spread of skateboarding, and something we should all do more. I know others are pushing and supporting skateboarding as a lifesaver, really, for troubled youth like ourselves.
Well, it's a way to it's fun, it's challenging, it's socializing. We talked about that, right? The friendships. It's also, you can social distance if you have to do that. And it's exercise, and it's not, it's not video. So we try and do it. We're in our, I don't know, 17th year. It's 2006. Which is hard to believe. Started with Paul Schmitt and the guys from Spot. So I appreciate that. And if you're out there listening and you have a skateboard, do not snap it. Do not let me catch you focusing your board. give it to somebody else or give it us, and we will give that to somebody else to skate and spread stoke, and maybe they can have a little fun, and that board can give back a little bit more. So we thank you, Scott. Is there any closing words you might have for our listeners and watchers?
No, thank you, Ed, Phil, George, everybody out there. Keep skating, keep pushing. Don't let age get in your way. Thank you.
Yes, might be late for me, but you've done a good job. So thanks a lot, Scott. You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.